A major winter storm blanketed central Indiana over the weekend, triggering a colossal chain reaction collision involving approximately 45 vehicles on Interstate 70 near Terre Haute. The incident, which occurred on Saturday, November 29, 2025, forced the closure of the busy highway for approximately 6 hours as emergency crews managed the extensive scene. The pileup unfolded on the westbound lanes of I-70, roughly 10 miles outside of Terre Haute in Vigo County, shortly before 10 a.m. local time. According to the Indiana State Police, the primary cause was a sudden and intense snow squall that dramatically reduced visibility and led to the formation of black ice on the pavement. The hazardous conditions made it impossible for dozens of drivers to maintain control or stop in time, resulting in a chaotic scene of intertwined passenger cars and several jackknifed semi-trucks strewn across the interstate and into the median. The sheer scale of the accident led the responding Raleigh Fire Department to describe it as the largest wreck they had ever responded to. Remarkably, despite the large number of vehicles involved, authorities reported no fatalities. Around a dozen people suffered minor injuries and were transported to local hospitals for evaluation and treatment. Other drivers and passengers were treated at the scene. Emergency personnel, including the Indiana State Police, local fire departments, and the Boone County Sheriff's Office, which dealt with other storm-related crashes, responded quickly to the incident. They worked throughout the afternoon to clear the wreckage, which caused a significant traffic halt during a busy post-Thanksgiving travel weekend. The crash caused the closure of I-70 westbound lanes for about 6 hours, with the roadway finally reopening around 7 p.m. The incident was part of a larger weather event that generated hundreds of crashes across the state over a 24-hour period, prompting law enforcement to issue urgent travel warnings. Indiana State Police Public Information Officer Sergeant Matt Ames urged residents to avoid non-essential travel and exercise extreme caution if they needed to be on the roads. People just need to drive smart when the snow starts falling, reduce your speed, make sure you're buckled up, and let's just all be safe out there, Ames emphasized. The National Weather Service had issued a winter weather advisory for Vigo County and much of central Indiana, warning of slippery roads, snowfall up to 4 inches, and wind gusts as high as 35 miles per hour. Indiana State Police Public Information Officer Sergeant Matt Ames described the outcome as fortunate, given the chaotic nature and scale of the incident, which involved numerous intertwined passenger vehicles and commercial semi-trucks. People were miraculously climbing out of cars that had been decimated, shared one driver who was caught in the pileup, highlighting the severity of the damage that somehow did not translate to severe human harm. 0 fatalities were reported in this specific incident. Serious injuries. No major or life-threatening injuries were sustained by any victims. Approximately a dozen people were transported to local hospitals with minor injuries for evaluation and treatment. Many others were assessed and released at the scene by emergency medical personnel. Emergency crews, including the Raleigh Fire Department and various law enforcement agencies, worked through challenging weather conditions for nearly 6 hours to manage the scene, clear the wreckage, and ensure the safety of all involved. The fire department noted it was the largest wreck they had ever responded to, a testament to the efficient and effective emergency response that prevented a far worse tragedy. The incident prompted officials to issue stern warnings for drivers to reduce speed and avoid non-essential travel during the ongoing winter storm. The successful evacuation and treatment of victims were major achievements in a scenario that had all the makings of a catastrophic event. For ongoing information regarding road safety and conditions in Indiana, residents can check the Indiana Department of Transportation website for updates and travel advisories. While major hubs in Chicago, O'Hare, and Midway international airports were hit hardest by the storm, recording record November snowfall and seeing over 1,000 cancellations collectively on Saturday alone. Airports in Indiana faced substantial impacts as well. According to the flight tracking website FlightAware, the Indianapolis International Airport experienced considerable disruption. As of Sunday evening, November 30th, 2025, 113 flights scheduled to depart from or arrive at IND had been canceled. This accounted for approximately 24% of outbound flights and 43% of inbound flights for the day. Numerous other flights faced significant delays as airlines worked to de-ice aircraft and manage the backlog caused by the weather system and ground stops at other airports in the region. The Federal Aviation Administration noted that the weather resulted in ground delays at various Midwest airports, including those near Indiana. The timing of the storm coincided with one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, with the Transportation Security Administration predicting Sunday, November 30th, would be one of its busiest days ever. Travelers at IND and other regional airports faced frustration and long waits. One traveler, Don Hurrian, who had visited family in Indianapolis and was attempting to fly home to Oklahoma via Chicago O'Hare, reported his flights were delayed multiple times. "It is what it is," Hurrian said, highlighting the general acceptance among weary travelers who understood the conditions were weather-related. Airport staff and airline ground crews worked diligently to clear runways and manage the flow of passengers, but the persistent snowfall and high winds presented ongoing challenges. Meanwhile, an intense early-season winter storm dumped up to 15 inches of snow across parts of Iowa during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, causing treacherous road conditions and overwhelming emergency services. The Iowa State Patrol was inundated with calls for service, responding to hundreds of incidents on snow and ice-covered highways between Friday, November 28th, and Sunday, November 30th, 2025. The storm created a nightmare for post-Thanksgiving travelers, leading to numerous multi-vehicle crashes and jackknifed semi-trucks that forced temporary closures of major thoroughfares like Interstate 80 and Interstate 35. According to data released by the Iowa State Patrol, troopers handled a massive volume of calls within a 48-hour window, from Friday noon to Sunday noon. Total calls for service, 856. Total crashes covered, 210. Property damage crashes, 190. Personal injury crashes, 20. Fatalities, 0, in this main incident period. Motorist assists, 646, including slide-offs and stuck vehicles. One separate, earlier incident on Monday, November 10th, involved a fatality in northern Iowa on snow and ice-covered roads in Humboldt County, but the main weekend storm did not result in deaths. The severe conditions led to specific incidents that shut down key travel routes. On Sunday morning around 8:30 a.m., Interstate 80 eastbound near West Branch was completely closed when a semi-truck jackknifed and blocked both lanes. Around the same time, another jackknifed semi caused a blockage on I-80 westbound in central Iowa. In the Des Moines metro area on Friday afternoon, multiple crashes were reported on Interstate 235 as snow began falling, including a 4-vehicle collision that resulted in one minor injury. Visibility was significantly impacted by the heavy snow and wind gusts, with the Iowa Department of Transportation reporting major interstates across most of the state as fully covered in snow. A video widely circulated online even showed cars and trucks struggling to navigate treacherous conditions in Iowa City. In one incident during a motorist assist call, an Iowa State Trooper's vehicle was struck on I-35, fortunately without serious injury to the trooper. The Iowa State Patrol and the Iowa DOT continuously urge drivers to avoid non-essential travel and use extreme caution. Folks, if you can stay home, stay home. A authorities advised. They pointed to excessive speed for conditions and following too closely as major contributing factors to the numerous incidents. Road conditions have been improving since the storm subsided, but drivers are still urged to check official sources before traveling. For the latest updates on travel conditions across Iowa, residents can utilize the Iowa DOT's 511 website or their 511 app. The storm's impact wasn't limited to the roads. A Delta Connection flight carrying 54 passengers also skidded off an icy runway at the Des Moines International Airport during landing on Saturday, November 29th, though no serious injuries were reported from that incident either.